Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Jon, an episode post first round playoff victory for UNO.
Absolutely right. Normally, this episode is our season finale of the Mavpuckcast, but boy, the Mavs got it done out in Colorado Springs. So we've got a couple more episodes to go here, which is very exciting. But before we talk about that first round NCHC playoff series out at Colorado Springs, we've got to give a shout out to our official merchandise sponsor of the Mavpuckcast, Lawler's Custom Sportswear. Jason and I are sporting. We're sporting the special Omaha Hockey Frozen Faceoff shirts that Pat did after UNO's thrilling best of three victory out at Colorado Springs. Pat gave us a heads up this weekend. He has done this before in the past for potential playoff merchandise, and it always makes me really nervous when we get that message, because I'm like, is this going to jinx the team by having the merchandise vendor getting things ready? But that's what they've got to do. A special thanks to your father-in-law Lyle for going and picking these up for us on Sunday while we were on the road.
That was really nice to have them waiting for us when we got back, and it's really cool to see something Frozen Face-Off with Omaha's name and logo on it.
If you would like to get one of these special edition Frozen Face-Off shirts, be sure to head over to lawlerscustom.com on the web, or their brick and mortar store if you're here in Omaha on South 84th Street. But we've got to talk about UNO's exciting playoff series out in Colorado Springs. UNO was the number 5 seed. Colorado College was the number 4 seed. Right in the middle of the pack were those two teams, two of the best teams down the stretch in the NCHC. It was an exciting weekend, and that Friday game, that first period, was scoreless for both teams.
Yeah, a really evenly matched a game there. It's kind of what we expected when you get into this middle bracket. Lots of back and forth, lots of opportunities for both teams, but both goalies playing the way we expected. We said all weekend between us and CC fans and that, like, all I heard was how amazing these two goaltenders are, and these are probably the best goaltenders in the league. And I think both of them get credit for that, especially after that first period.
Absolutely. Both Simon Licozzi and Caden Mbarico, definitely two of the best goaltenders, if not the two best goaltenders in the league. So they've been very, very important for both of these teams this season. Second period, Friday night, UNO scores 3 straight in the second. 5:30 in, Ty Mueller puts the puck in, assist to Griffin Ludke. Then Jack Randall at 5:51 in puts the puck in from Joe LeMay and Tanner Ludke. And then 13:24 into the period, Jacob Slipek puts the Mavs up 3-0, assist to Gavin. All 3 of those goals were in transition. Jason, what'd you think about those goals? And what'd you think about UNO's position at that point in the game?
Well, I felt really good, especially the two that were kind of back to back there at 5:30, 5:51. That's a real big boost to kind of go from a 0-0 game, that tight checking kind of game, to suddenly being a 2-0 lead for Omaha. That's a tough thing for CC to handle. To get that third one, you really started to feel like that might be, what Omaha needed to steal the first game of the series and have a lead going into game 2. They were playing okay. I thought their second period certainly wasn't as good as their first, but those are goals that you don't expect Mbarico to let in, and they were getting some traffic in front, so you knew he was probably thinking about what's coming down the opposite side or down the slot in those types of things. And just really, really good shots by those guys to find post and ins and find corners on them.
This is playoff hockey. You're on the road. You just never know what's going to happen. 14-13 into that second period. CC's Chase Foley narrows UNO's lead to 3-1. It was a power play goal. Proctor went to the box on a cross-checking penalty.
Yeah, it was a pretty weak call. They had kind of been letting a lot of stuff go through this period, and so you kind of just thought the refs were into playoff mode. If it's not egregious, if it's not an opportunity that's going to give someone a goal or something like that, like you're pretty much just going to swallow your whistle. And that's kind of the game we got from the first through midway through the second, and then yeah, that Proctor call was just there just wasn't a lot there. So to make that kind of call at that point in the game, you kind of thought that the refs might be looking to lean their thumb on the scale a little bit.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge goal for Colorado College to narrow that 3 goal gap going into the third period. So it was 3-1 UNO after two. And then we go into that third period. Boy, that was quite a period for UNO. UNO kind of went into prevent mode, trying to hold the lead. 9:15 into the third period. Colorado College cuts UNO's lead to 3-2 on the power play. Mueller was called for a 5-minute major.
Yeah, with the game misconduct, so we didn't have him for the rest of the game, and I think it threw a lot of stuff off in that third. They went into that 1-2-2 prevent, and it's just not the kind of game that UNO's used to playing, and it doesn't play into their strengths. And once the Colorado College got that power play, they pull within one, and it's not over. I think they still had 3-ish minutes left. You were really, really worried because we had played terrible going into that. I was worried that we might give up two on that power play alone just to even it up, and just we never really got any offense. We never got sustained pressure the entire period. We only had one shot by the time it's all done, and you're just, even though you're playing with the lead, like you just never want to be in a position where you're reacting to what the other team's doing every minute.
Losing Mueller was a big one, a big important part of our offense, and so UNO's down 3-2 at that point. Still hoping that the Mavs could find some way to hold on to that lead and get a big win in the first game of the 3-game series. But then in the final minute of regulation, with Caden and Barrico cold, CC's Noah Laba ties the game up. We talked about him on last week's episode of the Mavpuckcast. Very talented forward for them. 3-3 after regulation, and it's going into overtime, and not the usual 3-on-3 5-minute overtime that Maverick fans are used to watching this season. But when you get to the postseason, it's a full-on overtime. The Zambonis come out and resurface the ice after that third period. So a little over midway through that 20-minute overtime, CC's Gleb Veremyev gets the game winner, 4-3 Colorado College in overtime. Simon Lakozy has a career-high 46 saves in that game.
Yeah, CC put 50 on net in that game, and it was just, really the third period, the later part of the second period through overtime there was just nothing from UNO at all. It was tough. It was tough to watch. It's tough to be a fan when you're going to watching that, because they fought so hard to get that 3-goal lead earlier in the second, and kind of just see it whittled away, piece by piece by CC. And then that overtime goal it's heartbreaking when you see a guy come in. Veremyev trips Proctor in front of the net. They're all alone on the backside. Everyone else is on the puck side of the play, and Proctor's in position to make a play to challenge his guy. Like he's where he should be, and it's a can opener. Puts his stick between his legs, trips Proctor, and all of a sudden he's open on the back door and just jams it in, goes off his foot. They reviewed it to make sure that it wasn't a kicking motion, and decided that it was a good goal. And it's just, as referees, I think, the one thing is you never want to be able to kind of point to what you do and say it was, the reason why someone won or the reason why someone lost. And, this was a really crappy game by the referees, because, you look at the score sheet and you go, CC, every goal they score is a man advantage. Their power plays, and then when they pull the goaltender, and then in overtime, you gave them the win by saying, we're just not going to call something that blatantly obvious.
The guys were ailing coming into this series. The team had been battling an illness that had been going around at that high altitude. They were a little bit on the struggle bus. So all of us on Saturday nights were worried. It was a must win for Omaha to keep its season alive. I went into the game just thinking whatever happens, happens. Not going to get too high or too low before the game. First period, Friday night, 3:13 into the first. Tanner Ludke puts UNO up 1-0 on the power play, assist to his brother Griffin and Matt Miller.
Yeah, a really good shot. That was kind of the story of the weekend is a lot of the goals that we score are not the ones I would typically say you're going to see from Omaha. Usually the types of goals we expect with these guys are those, get it through, get it on net, and then find those rebounds. And the goals on Friday night and then this first goal here on Saturday were just, solid shots where they've got enough space to kind of pick a spot, and the guys did really really good about adapting to that. CC was trying to collapse down to take that away from us and to show them that we can play a different game. I think is a really strong point for this team moving forward.
Like you said, some really nice shots from the guys this weekend. 7:17 into the first. Chase Foley again for CC. He had a big game on Friday night. Ties it up 16:46 into the first. Jimmy Glenn, one of our lunch pail hardcat players, gets the go-ahead goal there for UNO. It was a backhanded goal. Great position for UNO to be up 2-1 at the end of two. Then we go into the second period, and the game was scoreless during that period, Jason.
UNO, I was a little worried in the second because they were kind of falling back into that, just let everything come to them. Only a couple of shots in that period, and I was starting to worry like we don't have enough of a lead to do this all over again. But they come out in the third, and the third's a different period for UNO. This is not what we saw on Friday. They really came out in the third and kind of said we're not losing this game.
7:37 into that third period. Brock Bremer puts UNO up 3-1. Power play goal. UNO goes on to win the game 3-1.
We were better in the face-offs, still not great, but the power play came back and the penalty kill came back, and that was huge. We've talked all season about the power play and some of the struggles that we had. So to go 2 for 2 in this game, I really think that's kind of the difference maker for UNO, and I think that's a key moving forward for them is they need to be productive. You need to be shooting it at 25-30% on your power play. To have success in this kind of game shows it like you didn't have that success in game one on Friday night, and you had that success on Saturday, and you lost Friday, you won Saturday.
Absolutely right. So UNO ties up the best of 3 series there, and so we go to a winner take all game on Sunday, the rubber match. We knew it was going to likely determine who got into the NCAA tournament. We heard before the game from a UNO staff member that 18 Mavs were on IVs that morning before the game. I don't know how that made you feel, Jason, but I was kind of like, all right, here we go. Let's see if they can grind this out. 15:34 into the first period. CC's Klav Vainberg puts the Tigers up 1-0 on the power play.
I mean, it was a pretty weak call that gave them that power play, and I think that's what worried me the most is, you let the guys play it out on the ice, and I like our chances. I like our opportunities. I like the way the guys are playing. But the referees kind of early in that game got involved and said, like, we're gonna decide who wins this game and who doesn't. And that's what worried me is like I can't control that when they start calling games like this. We could have seen that exact same play by Bremer that he gets called cross-checking on the goaltender for 5-6 times in this game, and they never once call it. Even later in this game, we see a guy knee Lakosi in the head when he's down on the ice going for a save, and they review it and go like, no, nothing, but like this is gonna get called. It's just the inconsistency is unbelievable, honestly. Like these refs were really bad this weekend, and it's just frustrating because you want to see the guys do it on the ice. They win or lose the game. I want to win or lose on the ice, and not have some referee make that decision.
So it's 1-0 Colorado College at the end of the first. Second period on Sunday, Griffin Ludke had a goal that was called back for offsides. But late in the second, Jimmy Glenn again ties it up for UNO, had 2 goals on the weekend, 1-1 at the end of the second. So we're going into the third period, all knotted up. Boy, I was nervous going into that third period. Had no idea what was going to happen. And then 6:39 into that third period, the aforementioned Brock Bremer gets the go-ahead goal for UNO, assist to Griffin Ludke, 2-1 UNO. Look, Colorado College made a valiant effort to tie it up. The final 2 minutes, 21 seconds of the period, and Barico was pulled to get the extra attacker on the ice. But the Mavs hold on to win 2-1. I kept expecting CC to tie that thing up there, and it was going to go to overtime. UNO wins the best of 3 series, the first time ever UNO advances to the semifinals in the NCHC playoffs. They get to go to St. Paul for the NCHC Frozen Faceoff. This, now there's going to be a little bit of a debate on this because I saw this online. We were talking about it in the car on the way home. This was the first time since 2001 that UNO advanced to the neutral site conference semifinals in postseason. The last time they did it, as I mentioned, 2001, when they were in the Central Collegiate Hockey Association. Okay. Now, some people were saying it was the first time since 2005. Well, when UNO was in the CCHA, there were 12 teams in the conference, and the conference experimented with different playoff formats during those years. So in that 04-05 season, they had what was called the CCHA Super Six. And so in that format, 12 teams played each other in a first round best of 3 series. Then the 6 winners went on to Joe Louis Arena in Detroit for the CCHA Super Six. It was a 3-day event, went from a 2-day to a 3-day event for that CCHA Super Six. On Thursday, the 3 through 6 seeds played each other. The 2 winners of that played the top 2 seeds from the first round because they got to bye that first day. And so UNO, in its official release on the OMAV's website from 2005, referred to the 3 through 6 games on Thursday as being quarterfinals, and then the final 4 teams on Friday being the semifinal, and then the Saturday game being the championship. So this is more than anybody wants to know, but the reason that we refer to 2001 being the last time they went to a neutral site conference semifinal is because semifinal round is usually the round right before the championship game. So whatever you want to say, Jason, go ahead and say it.
We're still counting it in decades, and that's my thing. Like, I think the fact is this is big because whether you count, 05 or 01 or whatever, like we're we're still looking at this going, it's been more than a decade since this team, this university's been able to kind of latch on to that. And, I really hope fans realize the opportunity to show their support for the team and that, that's here in front of them because, like you mentioned earlier at the start of the podcast, John, there's only 2 more of these frozen face-offs. There's this year that we're going to, and there's next year that we don't know if we're going to. And so it's quite, logical to sit here and say like this may be the only frozen face-off UNO makes if they don't make next year. So, hopefully people can make the trip up to Minneapolis, St. Paul and support the team and come out to the games, and then we'd love to be there with everyone.
Absolutely right. Don't take these opportunities for granted. UNO's first season in a conference, the 99-2000 season, it was their 3rd season of existence as a program. They made it to the CCHA championships at Joe Louis Arena, the semifinals. They beat Michigan in the first game on St. Patrick's Day, and then they lost to Michigan State in that championship game. It's the best result they've ever had in a conference playoff tournament. It was their 3rd year of existence. We didn't go that year. We were going to go with some friends. Our plans fell through. We didn't go. We thought, oh, UNO is going to make the conference semifinals, a lot going forward. This is just our 3rd year in existence. It's not really happened again. They made it the following year, and they made that CCHA Super Six in 2005. I just encourage the younger fans to take advantage of this opportunity while they have it, because you can't take anything for granted in sports. And this is a very special thing. And I just want to thank the guys that I don't have to keep referring to something that happened 2 decades ago as the last time it happened. Now I can say, the last time it happened was in 2024. So thank you, Mavs, for doing that. Just some little notes on the series. Like we mentioned, Simon Lacosi had a big weekend, 126 saves in the 3-game series. UNO got its 22nd win of the season, second most wins in a season for this program. The most wins was 24, and that came during the Mike Kemp era. Omaha is 16-2 in 1-goal games, and brotherly duo Tanner and Griffin Ludke combined for 51 points this season. And all that said, Jason, I've got to ask you, who's your player of the week for this best of 3 series that we just watched out in Colorado College?
We talked about this time. Usually we surprise each other, so it's kind of nice talking about it. Like, this is a hard one because honestly, this was a team effort. There's so many guys that we could call out, for their play this weekend that just performed, so well with their backs against the wall, with everything going on. Proctor to come back after that call he was clearly upset with, and have a good game in game 2 and game 3. Jimmy Glenn being that grinder that we needed. I thought he really performed well this weekend, but when it came down to it, the guy I kind of leaned on was Bremer. He was scrappy. He was in there. For a little guy, he was frustrating a lot of the players, and we talked about that's just kind of like his game. He just really seems to like getting under guys' skin and stuff like that. And I think that it was such a crap call on that penalty that the one blemish that you might put on him was that he took that, and I'm just not going to put that on him because I think that was totally just refs being stupid. And then the game winner, like, that was just a great shot, a great play to fill in that high soft slot area. So happy with his game, and it's been so much fun watching him for the last 4 seasons. One of my favorite players, so it's fitting that I pick him, I guess.
Absolutely right. As you and I call him, the Brockskeeto, because he gets under players' skin. He had a goal and an assist in both the Saturday and Sunday game. Big performance for him. He's had 4 multi-point games this season. So yeah, loved that performance by Brock. Always important this time of year to see those seniors step up and help get it done. And as you mentioned, grinders like Jimmy Glenn and Jacob Slipek. Nice to see both of them have big weekends.
The other thing I want to point out about Bremer, because I think it's really kind of what matters, is the not just the total number of points, but kind of when they come. And you look at March, 3 of his multi-point games come in March. And then obviously 2 of those in the playoffs. Like, that's big time guys. Those are the guys you kind of lean on. Obviously that's typically your older guys that have been through this before. But I just, he's turning it on at the right time, and he's going to be someone that the other teams have to game plan against. And we talked about that, going into this, is like, it's really easy to look at UNO and say, like, we have to plan for how we're going to handle Ludke and Mueller and Randall's line. If you have to start thinking about, like, how are we going to deal with this little mosquito, right? Like, that, it changes the way teams are going to play against UNO, and hopefully we can capitalize on that.
Plays with a lot of heart, and that's what we love about him. I don't think in my mind there's any question. Have to go with sophomore goaltender Simon Lacosi. As I mentioned, 126 saves in this series, at 2.62 goals against average and a .913 save percentage. Boy, they leaned on Simon a lot this weekend. Colorado College put up a lot of shots on UNO on Friday and Saturday night. It really was quite the differential in both of those games. And we've seen moments of brilliance from him over the last 2 years. And we need him to step up big now during the postseason.
Yeah, surprisingly, all the talk about Mberica going into this, Lacosi was the better goaltender.
Great weekend for the guys. I got to be honest with you, Jason. Going into the season, I'm not sure that I saw any of this coming, but just amazing for UNO to get its first trip to the NCHC Frozen Faceoff. I'm exhausted. I didn't even play a game. I wasn't on any IV drips, but UNO advances to the 2024 Frozen Faceoff in St. Paul. Omaha is the number 4 seed in St. Paul, and that means we'll take on number 1 seed North Dakota, who got past Miami to advance to St. Paul. DU is the number 2 seed, and they will play St. Cloud, who won their best of 3 series against a very talented Western Michigan team. That series also went 3 games. Some little housekeeping details here. There will be a pregame party for fans who are going up this weekend. If you are going to St. Paul, the UNO Alumni Association is going to have a pregame party at Herbie's on the Park next to the arena. Looks really cool. UNO AD Adrian Dowell, Chancellor Joanne Lee, and some UNO hockey alums will be there. RSVP is required, so visit unoalumni.org/Mavs on the move for more information. We'll be there. Jason, I know you and your father-in-law are going to be there, and we've enjoyed these Mavs on the move events that the Alumni Association has done in conjunction with hockey road trips in the past.
Yeah, they're always fun events. It's always a good time to see other fans and chat, and they put on a good event.
The UNO Alumni Association will also be hosting a watch party at Exarban Cinema here in Omaha for those who cannot travel up for the series. So check the UNO Alumni Facebook page for details on that. I know an RSVP is required. And an NCAA tournament note, because people have been talking about this. Jason, safe to say UNO will make the NCAA tournament as an at-large, and they will be in the Sioux Falls Regional since they are the host school. And we'll be talking about that more on next week's episode, Jason. But do you have any thoughts on UNO making the NCAA tournament?
It's good. It's exciting, and I think I'm more focused on what can they do in the Frozen Face-Off, and can they make a run at this and really go, championship game, or maybe even, hoist some hardware up there in Minnesota, and how much fun that would be. So, kind of, I think a lot like the team, focused on the next game, and what comes after that comes after that. But for fans, you do have to kind of focus, like plan your schedules. Sioux Falls we've been up there with Augustana, so you know where it is, and it's pretty close, and it's not every day. Usually what we're sitting here is talking about, like on Sunday, we're going to be sitting there and looking and seeing, like, do we get in or do we not? And if we get in, where do we go? And now it's like, we know we're in, we know where we're going. The only question left for Sunday is, who are we playing? And good luck trying to figure that one out.
Absolutely. UNO's performance in the NCHC Frozen Faceoff will have something to say about that, so they can potentially improve their seeding. So that's a huge opportunity up in St. Paul this weekend. And as we talk about this weekend at the NCHC Frozen Faceoff, it's our old foe, North Dakota. Fighting Hawks are 19-4-1 this season. 15-8-1 in NCHC play. As I mentioned, they defeated Miami in 2 games to advance to the NCHC Frozen Faceoff. Their leader, Brad Berry, is 206, 102, and 33 in 9 seasons. They haven't had a ton of success when they've advanced to the NCHC Frozen Faceoff, but they've got a lot to play for here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. What do you think about this upcoming matchup? Just your initial thoughts here against North Dakota this upcoming Friday.
I mean, they're a good team. We know that. We've seen them, so we know what to expect from them. But they they lost to us. So they lost 2 straight to us here. They're probably gunning for some redemption off of those 2 losses. And, like you just said, John, they have something to play for. And so we have to be ready for that, because they're not trying to make the tournament, but they're trying to make Sioux Falls. The anti-North Dakota fan that I am kind of just hopes that we seal the deal and beat them in the first round so they don't go to Sioux Falls, and we can beat that reason.
But as we mentioned, a lot of talented players on that North Dakota team. They have got a stable of talented forwards, and certainly sophomore forward Jackson Blake leads North Dakota with 21 goals and 36 assists. He had 2 goals and 3 assists against Miami this last weekend. we've always got to mention him. Former Mav Cam Berg has 20 goals and 16 assists this season for the Fighting Hawks in the 4 games that we played against North Dakota. Got to see both goaltenders. We got to see Ludwig Pearson. We saw a lot of him when he was at Miami. Also, their freshman goaltender Hobie Hedquist has been pretty impressive this season. And Hedquist, if for some reason we see him as a .919 save percentage and a 2.05 goals against average, so two talented goaltenders. UNO's going to have to keep their wits about them and play hard. Jason, are there any players you're looking at? Did I cover it for you? We've talked about this team a lot the past couple weeks. What do you think going in when you look at that roster for North Dakota?
Oh, they're stacked. We knew they were stacked. We've always known they're stacked. They're North Dakota, you know. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm a little curious what they're going to do for goaltender. I don't know. Maybe they go with the freshman and give them a shot at this. I think that they're playing for enough that they're going to go with Pearson, but that'll be interesting. Reese Gaber's the one that I kind of always look to. He's just, I don't know what it is about him, but every time I'm watching a game, heavily for North Dakota, he always seems to have a good one. So he's something I think UNO has to game plan for. But I think the recipe for success for UNO is pretty similar to what they did in Cara College. Defense first responsibility, get pucks to net, get bodies to net that follow it, and try to find some of those soft areas on deep plays, control the puck, things like that. Stay out of the box. Can't say that enough. Stay out of the box. That's if they can do that, if they can be 1 for 3, 1 for 4 on the power play. I think we've got a good chance of beating them, and we've shown that we can beat them.
Need to do the little things right. Play what I call meat and potatoes hockey. Do your best to control the puck in the offensive zone. I think that's really important. And of course, hopefully get a big performance out of goaltender Simon Lacozy. Jason, who do you like in this semifinal matchup against North Dakota?
Well, I mean, this is hard. Like, I'm not going to pick North Dakota because I'm not going to pick North Dakota. I'm just not. It's not, can't say it. But it's going to be tough. They lost to us. They had an easy series with Miami. They really were never in doubt in those games. I don't know that they're as sharp as they were earlier in the season, and that history of them in the Frozen Faceoff kind of might creep up their back a little bit, and I kind of hope it does. I kind of hope that we come out and we surprise them, and then we finish the season with 3 straight wins on them.
That would be fantastic. Like you, I'm picking UNO to win. There's no doubt about this. You knew I was going to pick UNO to win. We're not picking North Dakota to win. But like we said, UNO needs to play smart hockey. The guys are on the mend. Hopefully they're rested and ready to go. That will be the early game on Friday. They are the 4 p.m. Central Time games. So UNO will be playing early. Of course, you can listen on 1290 Coil here in Omaha or on the Varsity Network app. And these games will not be on NCHC TV. They will be on the CBS Sports Network, which has the rights to the entire Frozen Faceoff. So both of those semifinal games and the championship game will be on there. So if you're wanting to watch, that would be the network to watch. Jason, any final thoughts as we head into the Frozen Faceoff?
Go Mavs. That's my only thought.
We're not doing the go Mavs. Okay, just Jason jumped the gun on there, but
that's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking win it. Hardware. I want hardware. I want to bring back a trophy. Win. That's all I'm thinking.
All right. Well, forget anything else that I was going to say. Let me just add, go Mavs.